So much of dirty water we drinking.
In Parliament, the king said.
We have a telephone and it's a walking.
In Parliament, the king said.
He preparing for election coming.
In Parliament, the king said.
So he put a cabinet in the kitchen.
In Parliament, the king said.
Every day, Sicky playing.
In Parliament, the king said.
Nothing in the country walking.
In Parliament, the king said.
Mr. Speaker, sir,
In Parliament,
I really admire the behavior of the opposition. Shah and Pandey, they are always fighting among each other. I believe they are really great lovers of themselves.
in Parliament, the king said.
Yes, indeed, of course, a pleasant good night to all and sundry, East, West, North, South, Central, our friends in Tobago, and wherever you are, streaming on the World Wide Web. Pleasant good day to you. Yes, this is, of course, the corridor transformation. Don't forget, of course, that to get the corridor transformation, you simply, of course, log into corridor transformation on YouTube. And in the case of Facebook, well, of course, you key into, or you log into, of course, Alfred John, and you will get, of course, remember, some time ago, the corridor transformation on Facebook was hacked. Its page was hacked, and therefore, of course, all kinds of what I consider to be licentious and nude videos were showing, of course, and people were saying that can't be Lennox Smith. Well, you're sure right, it couldn't be. So, of course, once again, to get us on Facebook, you log into Alfred John, ALFRED JOHN, Alfred John. Yes, indeed, and you will get us there. Of course, I'm seeing everything is working here on Facebook. Sorry, on Facebook and on, of course, YouTube. Seen it showing up a little slow here, but I suppose that is because of course we are on two supply in terms of connectivity. We have two internet supplies. Yes, I out of an abundance of caution. So I have the fast one, which of course is what I am beaming to you with, and then we have another one where of course we monitor the program from time to time. So we are getting there, and we are improving. Of course, don't forget, of course, we want to get up to 40,000 a night. Of course, I know that there's much more work to be done, and it will be. But as usual, I think Monday, it is Monday, and of course the UNC is of course in the constituency of La Hokata Talparo, and once of course Kamala Prasad Bisesa, the political leader of the UNC, is on the platform or the podium, certainly we will switch there one time. Jolene John, for my information, Jolene John is there right now. She's sweating up a bit, but before that, let's of course formally introduce the program and of course engage. Let me say once again a pleasant good night to all and sundry, East, West, North, South, Central, in Trinidad, our friends in Tobago, and wherever you are streaming on the World Wide Web. A pleasant good day to you. Yes, this is the corridor transformation. Tonight, of course, I want to try to get to. I'm tempted, of course, to do something with respect, of course, to what transpired today. And this is what I consider to be lame duck prime minister with a lame duck government, only for about a couple of months. You know what I say? A lame duck prime minister with a lame duck government or a cabinet, and of course, is to only engage for a couple of months. This is a comedy. This is a tragedy. This is, of course, well, tragedy, comedy, I suppose, is the same in opposite context, but it doesn't matter whether it's a tragedy or a comedy, because it appears to be, of course, a combination of all of the above, and indeed a total and absolute charade. Of course, all played out with what we have established to be a very complex, but always for some sinister reason, mind of the fellow called Keith Christopher Rowley. We saw him, of course, getting close to Biden by orchestrating. Yes, he did orchestrating, of course, a fake scenario where he got, of course, a doctorate. A doctorate. Remember that when, of course, he went up to the United States. But all of that was designed to get close to get close to Biden. But he busted his average because no way he could fool Trump, because Trump had a dose of him in his prior incarnation, and now that he has come back, he tell him, hey, listen, I don't even want to give you, or put another way, I want to take away your blasted visa. Your visa, yes, in order, but of course he said that is all right. I wonder where he will go now to get his usual medical, because he said that on the one hand, just the other day, having of course cut the ribbon for a fake or a shell of a hospital, yes, the central block, yeah, shell. We established that and we proved that already. But more than that, he always, of course, travels to get his so-called medicals, and that of course, gave him frequent flyer. And of course, whilst he was criticizing in opposition Kamala Prasad Bisesa for flying the length of time or the amount of times that she flew out of the country, he has broken that record too. Of course, apart from other records that when you look at it from his initial utterance or criticism, usually of the particular instant that would have attracted his vitriolic statements, it turns out that he saw in others that which is in him, and therefore over the last 10 years he has done and broke the record of all of them, whether it be on crime, whether it be of course on the NGC. Remember when he got in, he did in fact talk about the NGC being, of course, a cash cow for the Kamala Prasad Bisesa administration, and then it turned out to be that and all. Even Boss didn't make a profit, even though it was supposed to be a cash cow that could not have lost its ability to assist the Trinidad and the Tobago, etc., etc. There's a little difficulty inside of here now. Let me just turn off this. Sorry about that, but it was an intruder that I didn't want you to witness my engagement with. That being as it may, let's get back to the topic of the moment. A very what I consider to be disturbing, but of course we have to do what we have to do. And let me just check to see if Kamala Prasad Bisesa is about. I see that an introduction is taking place. I'm going to forego, of course, the usual. I'm going to forego the usual, of course, introductions, and of course the starting of the program. Let me see. I'm watching. Let me share it with you. I think it's the right thing to do at this stage. Let me just share it with you. What is happening on stage at the UNC?
We come to do the thing, yeah? One family, I'm sure it's doing. We come to make a change. It's about that time.
It appears that a musical interlude is taking place on stage, but let me just deal with that.
Everything is still the same, and who is there to blame? Like the government event, they set the ship and crash the plane. But the people want change. Look, vote them out. My people, now is the time. We fed up by them lies. We see the truth, them hide inside. And if you don't see, then you're blind. My race sunlight takes time. My people join the line. It's time to draw the line. We fed up by them. We fed up. Let me hear the people there. Fed up by the P and them. We fed up by the promises. No future for your kids. We fed up by the suffering. We fed up. We want a change. We voted for a change. I say everything is still the same. And who is there to blame? Like the government and fin, they sink the ship and crash the plane. Where the people want UNC, move a bit, and better for you and me.
So let us go.
We move a bit, UNC, move a bit, together now, TNT. Let me hear
So it appears there's a musical interlude on stage at this point in time. Let's just take a little peek. Let's take a peek.
And he comes, tell them hello. Tell them hello, no red, only yellow. Only yellow. Every time we suffer them, I call it a lesson. Tighten the belt, don't use them stressing. 10 years of work, no help, no blessing. PM, please tell me the message. UNC, move away, it's better for you and me. When the people want change, we voted for a change, I swear. Everything is still the same, and who is there?
So yes, of course, just a little sneak peek. When Kamala Prasad Bisasa, the leader of the UNC, gets on stage, then of course we will return. But let me continue with my introductions. All right. So of course we know that that is what is happening at this point in time on the stage. That song is jump. That song is jumpy, boy.
Everything is still the same, and who is there to blame? Like the government intervene, they sink the ship and crash the plane. Where the people want change. We wanna say this part. Wanna say this part 20, right? We going with it. Red people want red, only yellow.
Yes indeed, yes indeed, yes indeed, yes indeed. Of course, we will return, of course, momentarily to the stage. I'm aware, of course, that the UNC is having their meeting in the constituency of La Hokata Tal Paru. But in the meantime, of course, I was making the point that this lame duck Prime Minister sworn in only today, given the impression that he's freshly minted. But I was also making the point about the what I consider to be the excesses of the outgoing or outgone Prime Minister. No difference, half a dozen of one and 6 of the other. But the fact is that here it is, he was castigating the UNC for, of course, using NGC as a cash cow for things that may be within or out of budget, or indeed on special occasions, such as, of course, promoting sports in various communities and so on, or building sporting facilities, etc. But the big difference here is, and again, of course, Rowley has outdone the UNC in that NGC didn't make a profit twice during the last 10 years. Twice. So that too. And when he said, of course, that Kamala Prasad Bisasa shouldn't have her sister, a female prime minister, would want to have special, of course, arrangements because of her gender, and have her sister at the diplomatic center. Rowley was castigated that, and guess what? He bring his immediate family and the extended family. And don't tell me we know what we're talking about, because remember, when, of course, everybody else was locked out of Trinidad, no flights coming in, his daughter was on her way to the diplomatic center during COVID, coming here for a holiday during COVID. So we know, so that level of hypocrisy cannot be sustained, will not be acknowledged, and we must understand that these people are toxic. They are a cesspool of evil, self-aggrandizement, extremely incompetent, malicious, vindictive, and then, of course, suddenly, Rowley has a bout of self-righteous indignation, and he knows what is proper now, and he's advising, of course, politicians not to quarrel, and be a little more congenial. Well, I will tell him, it's too blasted late. It's too late. Nobody takes you seriously. Nobody has taken you seriously. And of course, your policies and program only to the detriment of the population, and therefore must be one of extreme. His conduct now is extreme, what I consider to be desperation. He knows the writing is on the wall, so he gone, Limo gone, and of course we have to do like what Imbert did, However, Imber did it for malicious reasons. The former governor of the central bank, Rambaran, who got judgment recently of over $5 million for wrongful dismissal. But in this case, Lima Land Appeal Judge job assignment in the, of course, the OECS Court of Appeal, that is the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, OECS, Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, a small grouping of lesser Antilles countries, for want of a better term, and they have their own currency, etc. The Eastern Caribbean currency, remember that? Well, they have their own bank and etc. and they have their own appeal court. Well, he lands a job there. We have a duty to write to the judiciary there and tell them no. He lied to, and he was on record of lying to, of course, an American in the American jurisdiction, and therefore they should take that seriously. And in case they take it seriously, well, then we will write, of course, to the American jurisdiction and let them know what has happened here so that he doesn't land any feathered nest opportunity, having, of course, in a very profligated way and with extreme excesses, misled the government and, of course, engaged in wanton delivery of our monies to lawyers that are familiar to him, being, of course, Attorney General. So he gone, Rowley gone, and they believe that somehow Stuart Young and they will be able, of course, to make the grade. When I say from tomorrow, Stuart Young ass is grass. Yes, and he must always be last. Yes, and he must not last either. His ass is grass, he will be last, and he cannot last either. Because there are so many, of course, indications and antecedents. So let him enjoy the few months that he has as Prime Minister. But we the people must understand that we have a duty and responsibility not to have that level of incompetence, not to allow that level of what I consider to be public raiding of the treasury is over 100 times as far as recusal between him and his brother. Of course, the brother not a member of the cabinet, but for his brother to get, of course, contracts that move, of course, a little known, or should I say, an unknown financial institution has gotten billions of dollars from the government, of which he was and is a member, and Rowley was the, of course, Prime Minister at the time. A betrayal in excess, a betrayal of undefinable proportion. And therefore we must respond as citizens, because much of that could have gone to laptops rather than people having, of course, to demonstrate that they have the ability not to have a laptop. So they have a means test. Not under Kamala Prasad Bisasa and the UNC, and it will not be in the coming Kamala Prasad Bisasa UNC stroke, of course, coalition of interest administration. No, we will not subject anybody to that. Anybody. However, we know that there are people who would say, no, I can afford it, so therefore, out of love for country, they would say, well, they would not accept the offerings of the state. But unconditional offering of laptops, simply because a large percentage of the population cannot afford it. They have been pauperized further by, of course, the draconian, evil, despotic policies of this government. Yes, I say this government, whether it be, when I say this government, I'm talking about whether it's Rowley, whether, of course, is this newly spinned attempted to try to soften the fall, the monumental fall of the PNM. Try to soften it, but it cannot. I have not seen, of course, his cabinet was sworn in around 3 o'clock today. Maybe you can tell me, because as somebody telling me, well, listen, he will have new faces and therefore will carry that into the election. You had to be coming from space or from the sun not to know that the list of candidates have already been identified and launched only on Sunday of the PNM, and we know that there are very little new faces. That's one. And two, let Stuart Young lose his mind and set up a cabinet. Now, I ain't seen it yet, so you will tell me, set up a cabinet without those who are already there. What you will have is a shifting around. But he has to do it. You know why? Because they will take a lag in his tail. And of course, all hell could break loose. They just need one tender keg, one inflammable, one what I consider to be gasoline, political, I'm talking about gasoline ignition, one, and that's it. So let us not waste time and give them, and to give the impression that somehow an election was just completed and somehow this man has all these elaborate, what I consider to be, whilst I respect the process, but I will still call it charade of orchestrated by Rowley. Orchestrated by Rowley. We are yet to know what exactly he has demitted office, and I say sooner than is expected. It's only a couple more months, several more months before the election. Why would he give up now? It didn't make sense. Give him what, 3 or 4 months in the position of prime minister for what? And in circumstances that has of course ruffled the PNM and has unsettled it in more ways than one. And it cannot be deemed or classified as being, of course, an exercise in succession planning. Cannot be an exercise in succession planning. No succession planning exercise could be that chaotic and that stupidly organized. Right? Where you have, of course, the prime minister going out, and they had to rush and put a plaque in his name in a gutted or eviscerated hospital block called, of course, the central block at the hospital. And then, of course, the same thing happened in Tobago. And Rowley had the audacity, because he tell himself he going out to talk to Farley and, of course, Watson Duke by calling them first name or last name, as the case may be, but not as their title would accord them, and that is to say, Chief Secretary, etc. He called them out, and then, of course, instructing them to accept a failed project from the commencement of his administration, the Rowley administration, when of course he brought Sandals here, promising of course $500 million a year in revenue for Trinidad and Tobago, and got nothing. He then of course ended his stint as a prime minister in this country by telling them to go back to that. I want to see them, if they're so damn stupid, to of course accept that invitation from that blight and that total failed fella called Keith Christopher Rowley as prime minister and most hated man in Trinidad and Tobago, and indeed has its record for not only murders after murders in this country, but for the most hated prime minister ever. I'm talking about past and future. But let's go and see whether or not Kamala Prasad Bissessa is still there. I'm going to just...
Red, only yellow, no red, only...
All right, they're still on the entertainers are still on the podium or on the stage, so I'm not going to engage there. But of course, let us go back to our music, where, of course, I spoke up and formally, of course, start the program.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Die, 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 die. I think the government in this country should treat the people more seriously when they have their parliament meeting. Something constructive should be happening. I visit them one evening in the parliament meeting. But what I see happening? Like these people high over cocaine. Why is the speaker speaking?
In Parliament, the Kingston.
Eric with a newspaper reading.
In Parliament, the Kingston.
They want to stop old people from driving.
In Parliament, the Kingston.
That the long say joke they're making.
In Parliament, the Kingston.
Kicks and all the time. Blowing everybody mind.
Yes, indeed, of course. And in the meantime, of course, we will open up the lines because I want to start. I'm tempted to start in a particular direction, but I want to make sure that Kamala Prasad Bisesa is with us at this point in time. The music is still, the entertainers are still, of course, on stage. So maybe we can take the chance and begin what I want to start with at this point. Yes, indeed. So I thought it was important, of course, and I would love to hear from you because, as I said, I did not witness or in any way tune in to the minister's part this evening as the second phase of the process of this so-called fake camouflage prime minister called Short Young for a couple of months. Of course, this morning we had, of course, the former minister of housing, talking about, of course, Camille Robinson-Regis, sworn in as the Attorney General, the new Attorney General, replacing, of course, Limo. Yes, indeed. So there we have it. Let me, of course, go to what I would like to deal with at this point. Yes, indeed, as the kicks and kicks and kicks. Let's go back, of course, to the stage and see what is happening. All right, let's take it a little bit on the stage at this point in time. Let's take it a little bit from the stage. So, Annie Roberts is there.
Boy, that is Trinidad and Tobago. That is the talent that we have. We deserve a leader who understands and fosters leadership, not fosters corruption. That is why we will vote Watts. Is shocking, Laokata Talparo. Watts and more Watts. Ladies and gentlemen, when the UNC wins, everyone wins. When UNC wins, Kamala Prasad Bisesa will be sworn in as Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, and she will be accompanied by her husband of 52 years, Dr. Bisesa. A man swearing in as Prime Minister today And the secret girl had to sneak in, not as a media reporter, not as the editor of the Guardian political investigative journalist. She had to go in quiet. The man shame, she shame. First time you have a prime minister that nobody loves. That is PNM. That is not leadership. Our country deserves more. When I tell you, if you all think back, I know all your UNC leaders listen and remember good. All you remember, I told you all a story about Stuart Smallpin Young when he was in St. Mary's College. I told you that he was a bully and that he was bullying a little skinny Indian boy for years, over and over, bullying him, battering him, abusing him, till one day that little skinny Indian boy take a baton and beat Smallpin and throw him in the dustbin. They called Smallpin from then Dustbin Terrier. Do you remember that story? You all thought the Douglas make up that? You all thought that Anil just don't like Smallpin because he dotish, incompetent, elitist, and he's a mama pool? Well, let me read something posted to Facebook today by a lady called Nadia Khan. Listen to what Nadia Khan had to say. She said, my brother Imran was abused and bullied while at St. Mary's College. He was to sit his O-levels and was expelled as he used force with a baton to defend himself from the said bully. He never had the opportunity to sit his exams. The bully and the bullies were never penalized for their actions. They sat their exams without any remorse. The trauma of being bullied in his high school years still lives with him today. The wound has healed, but the scars remain. That bully was Stuart Young. The irony of this, today, he gets the opportunity to now bully a nation. My UNC family, my people of Trinidad and Tobago, if it's one thing we would not accept at any point in time, is the bullying of our children. When you are in politics, you must see other children as your own. When you see other children in pain, you must feel it like it's your child. That's when you will be a good politician. You will be a great minister, and you will be a great prime minister like Kamla Persad-Bissessar, because she sees children, each and every one, as her own. So when you have a mama pool like Stuart Young, bullying a little boy so he couldn't take exams, and then his elitist life make sure that he could take his exams while the other boy suffers, we all must band together to beat that bully. We must reject the bully. We must reject Smallpin. We must reject the PNM. Jolene John just told you about a young man who came up on a UNC platform and spoke from the heart. The next day, that Stuart Smallpin Young, that bully, used the power of a nation, the power of a portfolio, the power of a ministry, the power of a minister of national security to bully that youth man, to embarrass that youth man, to research and to bring out things on that youth man in public. We say, fire burn all bullies. UNC will deal with them one by one. And to introduce some of the people who are going to help Kamla Persad-Bissessar defeat the PNM bully. People who are here to defend our leader from those who pretend to be on the inside but are really red, ready, and full of obia on the outside. They manifest themselves and they're welcome to go. Good riddance to bad rubbish. Let the UNC stand strong in the belief that we are here to support one another, to build our nation, and to save our country from the ravages of the PNM. I want you all to make some noise and continue to make some noise as I introduce to you some of our MPs and senators who are here. Our deputy political leader, the Honorable David Lee. Arnold Ram. The Benjamin Tanku. Rujanat Inder Singh. Senator Tim Gopi Singh. Rudal Munilal. And welcome a special guest, a man who's a historian who understands the patriotism, the beauty, and the brilliance of Trinidad and Tobago. Please welcome Professor Selwyn Cudjoe. The Peppermouth MP, hard-working MP, Barry Badarat. I already introduced some of you. We also have Chaguanas East, make some noise, Vandana Mohit. And one of the hardest working, greatest ministers in the history of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honorable Jack Austin Warner.
Ah, boy, Warner is there as well, boy.
We have the MP for Faizabad, Lakram Bodo. We have Dr. Rishi Sicharan, the MP for St. Augustine, the statuesque, brilliant Khadija Amin. The Honorable Ravi Ratiram. I see the lead in the Senate, a man who takes the war to the PNM and has them rocking, rolling, and getting seizures in the Senate, the Honorable Senator Wade Ma. Another senatorial colleague. I see my colleague, a man who has brought Coleman Butt to the knees, who brought him out of the portfolio of finance, and now he's in public utilities because of Senator Damian Lyda. And bring in my MP, the MP who's going to ensure that Kamla Prasad Bisesa wins the next election and is Prime Minister, coming on stage from all the way in Maruga, Tableland. Please welcome Michelle Benjamin.
But let's be of course, as you would have seen, we are taking some excerpts from the meeting tonight on it's Monday night, of course, of the UNC meeting in the constituency of La Hakota Talparo. Michelle Benjamin is I should say, has grown to be a very accomplished orator, and of course, one that is very
he dealt with him with VAT refunds,
astute in terms of her,
crisis,
work as a parliamentary representative
since
she was brought into, of course, the fold some time ago.
The UNC team in the Senate for 3 minutes, Senator the Honorable Damian Lyda.
So of course, David Lyda is coming on the podium now. Of course, at this exercise, the Monday night forum of the UNC in, of course, the constituency of La Hakota Talparo. We are waiting, of course, the political leader, Kamla Prasad Bisesa. I'm sure that
UNC Pastil over here, some noise!
She will have some comments to make as far as today's exercise. Tonight, I can't wait. I too am excited.
Meeting tonight, I see more people than in Woodford Square with the PNM. Make some noise! Brothers and sisters, it is clear. It is clear today that we saw a PNM party fall apart by the seams. We saw a Prime Minister Stuart Young in desperation appointing ministers today. And you know who he removed? Oh God, I'm going to get so lonely in the Senate now. He removed Colm Imbert as Minister of Finance, and he removed them in shame today. Brothers and sisters, we must never forget, when we go to those polls in some months from now, even though they remove Colm Imbert, never forget that under Colm Imbert, he has reduced this economy by more than 20%. It is 20% smaller today than when Kamla Persad-Bissessar was in power. Today, under Colm Imbert, there are more than 64,000 jobs less today than under Kamla Persad-Bissessar. Today, we have moved in the ease of doing business, and if you're a small businessman in this country today, I want you to listen. Every businessman in this country who has 3, 4, and 5 workers working for them, single mothers, all you remember this. The ease of doing business in this country now has fallen apart. We have seen this government collapse the ease of doing business. It is harder to open a bank account. It is harder to trade between borders. Right now today, it is harder to get a Tech and WASA approval if you want to get that.
I know that many of you are listening, but of course, if you wish to call, please do so. I have no difficulty. We will pause, we'll lower, of course, and we will take your calls, all right? But of course, I would entreat you to listen to the Monday night forum of the UNC, because tonight is a special night. Because of course a very important exercise took place today, and as I say, the sham of the creation of a second cabinet and a second prime minister in, of course, in one term, the term 2020 to 2025, in one term, two prime ministers. A sham, of course, and an abominable, what I consider be disgrace and shame for the PNM that it has reached this stage.
When he goes inside of there, let me tell you something today. What is impacting every business person in this country today, and every single resident in this country today, is that of crime. Every single business today has to deal with the expense of crime. They have to buy cameras, security equipment. They have to pay people to move their money from their business to the bank today. That is the expense you have to do today. And more importantly, they have to secure themselves from bandits running in their business place and holding them hostage and holding their wives and their children hostage. That is the reality of what we deal with today. But brothers and sisters, I ain't going to say too much more. I'm not going to say too much more. There is a new Minister of Finance, and I'm putting him on notice today. I'm putting him in notice today. This fella they call Dan Paul. I hear like to eat your meals on desks.
When UNC wins,
I leave it there. I leave it there. But I'm going to tell Dan Paul, we are going to come and deal with you, Mr. Dan Paul. Imbert, hard luck, brother. Later.
tell your neighbor, tell your friend.
Senator Damian Lider. Oh, you cut that music, cut that music.
Now is the
Cut that music.
if you want to leave,
DJ, cut it.
your ex by the rising sun.
Nice.
When UNC wins,
Ladies and gentlemen,
when UNC wins,
DJ. Ladies and gentlemen, politics is a very serious thing. It is not a game like what the PNM is playing. Sack in, sack out, drink a scotch and eat a shrimps. It is a job that impacts people's lives in a meaningful manner. This team of people that I've introduced to you full of disparate skills, but heart, soul, and mind, and care about people. Because a leader chooses people in his or her likeness. And here comes the leader now. Please stand
Yes, sir.
and welcome the leader.
Well, the moment we have been waiting for, of course, Kamala Prasad Bisesa and of course her presence or her appearance on the stage at the podium. It's going to be very interesting. The die has been cast, and of course we are in a battle for the soul and development of Trinidad and Tobago. Let's hear, let's see, and let's of course learn, and let's of course observe Kamala Prasad Bisesa and of course her presentation tonight at the UNC Forum in the constituency of La Hokata Talparo.
Election day, vote UNC. One love, one team, one hope, one dream. When UNC wins, everybody wins. When UNC wins, Trinbago wins. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. Vote for peace, vote for love, vote for hope, vote for change. When UNC wins, everybody wins. When UNC wins, Trinbago wins. Everybody wins.
So Kamala Prasad Bisesa is making her way to the stage,
Vote for peace,
and therefore the podium to
vote for change. When
give her
UNC
address.
wins, everybody wins. When UNC wins, Trinbago wins. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. When UNC wins,
There she is, there, the lady of the moment.
when UNC wins, Trinbago wins. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. Vote for peace, vote for love, vote for hope, vote for change. When UNC wins, everybody wins. When UNC wins, Trinbago wins. Everybody wins. Everybody wins.
So the coach is there as well, boy. A staunch
Tell your neighbor,
PNMite.
tell your friend,
And he says, of
now
course,
is the
very
time to rise and
categorically,
shine.
listen,
Tell your mother, tell your
I love
father,
my party.
when UNC wins,
I love my leader, but I love my country more. I love my country more, and all of us must accept and absorb and inculcate and express that noble and very significant, not just an utterance, not just a philosophy, not just an ideology, but action in motion. You see, an ounce of action, as I said, is better than a pound of talk. So it mustn't just be
Ladies
talk,
and
must be
gentlemen,
converted into action.
please
Let's go to the
welcome
podium.
the next Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago and her husband, Dr. Bisesa. As I was saying, while we love the speeches, the entertainment, the music, the drama, the pecan, the bacchanal, politics is a serious thing.
That's right.
Our country is in a dire circumstance. We are one step away from a failed nation. We need a prime minister who's an empath, who feels the pain of the citizens and therefore rules from her heart, uses her brain to bring cabinet notes to impress upon you, the citizens, that the resources must be used to your benefit, not to recusals. You won't hear Kamala Prasad Bisesa get up here tonight and defend a minister of energy who recused himself from the cabinet 121 times. And Rowley has the bold-faced audacity to say that that was okay. That Stuart Smallpin, young brother, is just a mere employee. He is not a mere employee. He is a CEO of a financial institution. The owners are shareholders. And the CEO is the big boss. The CEO gets huge pay packages. And when the company does well, the CEO gets bonuses. So if Stuart Smallpin Young's brother company, before Smallpin became a minister in 2015, had zero public sector work, and after 4 years, the government of the PNM gave him $4.5 billion in work, the CEO would benefit by bonuses in his pay package. For a man to recuse himself 121 times is corrupt in the highest order. The PNM uses the cabinet to enrich themselves. Kamala's cabinet provides service to you. And we check to see, looking for a signal, if the honorable leader is ready. The honorable leader is ready to roll. Ladies and gentlemen, please make some noise and welcome our leader, one leader, the Member of Parliament for Superior, the leader of the opposition, and the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honorable Kamala Persad Bissessa.
When UNC wins, everybody wins. When UNC wins, Trinbago wins. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. Vote for peace. Vote for love. Vote for hope. Vote for change. When UNC
wins, okay. UNC family. I can't hear you. UNC family. Good evening to all of you. I am so happy to join this massive crowd. Give it up for La Hokata Talparo and for everyone else who's here. Look, you know and I know. Yes, that you have had other leaders before me. But I want to remind you, you will never ever have a leader who loves you as much as I do. I have always loved you. I have always loved your children. And I always will. In everything that I have done or tried to do, I have always acted out of love and care for you. They have beaten, they have battered, they have tried everything in the book and outside the book to bring me down. But they have never succeeded. They will never, ever break me. Because you see, political leadership is not about a weightlifting championship. It's not about a running race competition. What leadership is, it is about competence. It is about love and care, empathy. It is about intelligence. It is about compassion. It is about shared love and experiences. And so it is not who could lift more weights. It is not about who could run faster. It is about who can get things done. Not about those who could shout, wait, Mark, the loudest. It is about working with people, serving people, not bullying. Selwyn, could you give it up? Welcome the professor who is with us tonight. Selwyn always tells us it's not about bullying. It is not about berating people. Political leadership is about caring, about service, and about love. And so let me just share with you tonight. I ran a bit late because we had an accident on the road. I always say I believe in the goodness of God, and God is great, so that I'm here with you tonight in spite of that accident. And the others involved in the accident, everyone is fine. So let's give praise and thanks to the Lord, because He is good and great. So let me bring my greetings to all the tremendous speakers who are here, who spoke before me. Big it up for them. I listened to them on the radio. And I thank them for their love and support for our great party. I want to especially give it up and big it up to my sister, Deputy Leader Jillian John. And I want to acknowledge my brother, Austin Jack Warner, who's with us here.
Yes, indeed,
All
of
the
course. Jack
candidates,
Warner is there.
all
I
the
have some
MPs
discussion
and
with him
senators and
tomorrow.
all persons gathered here this evening. But tonight, I think, is a night about a bright, brilliant, handsome young man, Philip Watts, our candidate for Lahokata Talparo. Boy, I hear the man say something about some bulb and dim and whatever. But when you, the brightest light bulb, left the P&M, their lights went out, they had a blackout. So big it up for Philip Watts here with us tonight. Again, greetings to all of you and thank you for sharing. I have a lot of thoughts here to share. And we live in a very important time, a very crucial time. Together tonight we stand united. Together we aspire, Prof. Together we achieve. UNC, listen to me. We are a united coalition of interests. We will fight this election, UNC, United Coalition of Interests. And together, the UNC, with the coalition of interests, we will be the glue of love, which holds and binds our country together. After 10 destructive years, I say we, UNC, United Coalition of Interests, we will glue our country together again with love and, of course, above all, with service. We will glue together the broken fragments that this government has splintered our beloved country into. But we'll do so with competence and, again, with love. You know, they're trying when you listen to them sometimes, and I really must be honest, most times I really don't listen. But, Prof, you know what? I read. So I'll pick up the transcript and look at the reports. And when you see what they're saying, they're trying to scare you. They're trying to scare the people of Trinidad and Tobago about losing. That if they lose, what happens to you? That's a scare when you listen, oh God, what will happen? And in that, when they say what you will lose, I want to remind you of these things. You must ask them, where is your increase in salary? You lost it. Where is your chance of promotion? You lost it. Where is your child's laptop? Lost it. Where is your life of freedom? Lost. Where is our foreign exchange? Lost. Where are your savings? Lost. And where are the 5,000 murdered citizens of our land? Lost. Gone forever. Where are the 5,000 dead from COVID? Lost forever. And very soon, your pension will also be lost if you make the mistake and put your ex to vote for them. Every single thing that you can call yours has been lost under this wicked, incompetent Rowley and Stuart Young government. Don't let them try to fool you, you know. They are the two sides, Prof, of the same coin. Stuart Young is bolted to the chest of Keith Christopher Rowley.
That's a fact. That's a fact. They can't fool anybody.
Shotgun for 10 years. So don't come today to say you're not part of that Rowley destructive regime. You are the other side of the face. I heard JJ say it. Was it JJ or one of you said it tonight? That Stuart Young is Rowley, except Stuart Young has a hair on his head. They are the same sides of the same coin with the same failed promises. So, in this time, we lost 4 divers in a Paria tragedy. Where was Stuart Young as Minister of Energy? The economy has lost Petrotrin, the refinery. And we are losing the Point Lisa's industrial estate. Parents have lost about 19 babies, Dr. Tim, in a hospital. Where you should be the safest, we've lost them. And what is it called? In NICU, that unit there for neonatal babies. Citizens, you have lost in this 10 years over 65,000 jobs. You have lost the ability to travel freely to the United Kingdom. Let me remind you, when we were in government, the United Kingdom came to my government, the partnership government, and said, we're going to take away your free travel. We are going to impose the same thing, a visa restriction. But my government worked really hard. You remember that, Rudy? We worked closely. And for 10 years, that visa restriction was never put in place. They took this wicked Stuart Young and Rowley to have that visa placed back. And don't feel that is only for people who want to joyride and go as tourists. It's businessmen. It's our students. I heard somebody mention if you want to go to court, I think it was Rudy, at the Privy Council, you have to get a visa. So Rowley trying to blame and Stuart Young trying to blame what? Colonialism. There's only one people you have to blame. And who is that? The Rowley and Stuart Young, P&M, to blame for that. The finance minister lost $3 billion. In which country in the world you cannot account for $3 billion and you still stayed as minister? This man now lost $3 billion, the Auditor General told us. He's so good, he never lost his work. They give him a next work. They put him in charge of water. If the man couldn't protect your money, you think he'll take care and provide water for you? Are you real? We will lose the water too. You're sure right. We lose that too. So, we have lost 10 years. I'm asking you tonight, will you allow the P&M to make you lose another 10 years, another 5 years of your life? I'm asking, I want to hear you. Do you want Young to make you lose and for your children to lose another 5 years? No way, no way, no way, no how. And so this election is about you winning. This election is about your children winning. Because you see, when UNC wins, everybody wins. Everybody. And today, in addition to all these things that you have lost, today you lost your democracy. You lost the right to choose your prime minister. They betrayed P&M supporters. They took away those supporters the right to choose their leader for their party. And today, they took away the rights of every citizen in this country to elect, to select and elect a prime minister. This is what is called a bloodless coup. It is a bloodless constitutional coup. We hear about coups happening, coup d'etats happening in other parts of the world. I'm sure the learned professor will tell us more about these coups in the world, but there have been coups without a drop of blood shed. That is what has happened under this government, under Rowley anointing his Gary Sobers. They have exercised a coup d'etat in Trinidad and Tobago. Today, our country was sold by Rowley, the Young and the Young family and their friends and financiers. And you know what is worse? You know what is worse? They were aided and abetted by 20 coward P&M MPs. Don't let them get off the hook. They were aided and abetted, and I see some of them, boy, what's the word, Prof? Wailing. You watch them on the stage, they're more happy than Stuart Young. Cowards! 20 P&M coward MPs. They sat idly by.
Sorry about that. My apology. Did something wrong there. All right, let me just get back. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, people. All right, let's get back to. Let's
So
get
we're
back there.
hearing that, but let me remind you, Munilal did somewhere. Let me remind you. This is not a new direction.
My apology.
Camille
Sorry
now
about that.
as the AG. It is a sinking ship, scrambling for lifeboats. We are in a gear, they place us into reverse gear, reverse drive. Does Camille's appointment inspire confidence in anyone? Does Camille inspire confidence in any of you? And the answer is no. No way. This is not, definitely not to inspire confidence. Well, careful what you wish for. It could turn around and bite you, So WPC, Camille wanted to lock up Modila. Up today, he's not convicted in any court of law. She better careful. Because I want to remind you, she was credit card Camille. She is the one under police investigation at the moment. Could end up with the police warrant looking for her. So let's talk about this new AG. Others have raised it, just 1 or 2 points. What is Camille famous for? Credit card Camille. Well, Monilal didn't want to say what she used the government credit card for, but he said personal items. I'm prepared to go along with that. And credit card Camille. You know what she's famous for too? What Trump go do we? What Trump go do we? Well, we are finding out day after day what Trump could do us, Miss Camille. So short-sighted you all were. So what Trump could do we seeing what Trump can do. So this is the famous credit card Camille, the statement, what Trump could do we, and many other things we go into on another day. But you see, you're an Attorney General, Rudy raised a point. You represent all these money laundering, so on, so on, so. And we talk about a credit card, that's one aspect. But this is the bank account that the lady was under investigation. You said it, and still not cleared. For where did she get the $143,000 to put in a bank? And the police investigation said, she told them she'd take it from her next bank, but their investigation is, never came from another bank. So up to today, where did that come from, Camille? And Rowley yesterday boasting about, can Kamala say nobody take money and do money and what money? Have you looked at Camille? She put $143,000 and up to today, cannot tell you where that money came from. But let me share something else with you. Explain your wealth, yes, you're correct. In the past 23 years, Camille was a member of the parliament before. The records, the online records only goes back for a couple of years. So I'm just giving you for a period of time. She has been an MP or in the parliament from 2002. So for 23 years, she has served in the 8th parliament, the 10th parliament, the 11th parliament, and now the 12th parliament. In those 4 parliaments in which she served in the last 23 years, about 319 bills have been brought to parliament. Ms. Camille has spoken on only 54 of 319 bills in the parliament. We know it, she doesn't speak in the parliament. Well, let's see now with AG if she will speak. Look, David, he's smiling down there. He knows that. She just likes to shout across the floor, but she will not get up to speak. And you know, I don't know if you could remember. I can't remember a single case this woman fighting in any courthouse. When Serge, you could remember any, Dev? I don't remember any. She will tell us, but I don't remember any. So she doesn't even speak in the parliament, and AG has a job, as you know, to present bills, defend their bills. So in that parliament for 23 years, this lady has only spoken on 54 bills. Let's see if that changes. Other people gave the reasons why they gave her the job. I think you said it. Other people didn't want to work. They just didn't want to work. I'm moving along. I've shared with you some of the things with Camille now in that seat. I've shared with you that they want to reinvent themselves by appearing to be new, but it's the same pack of cards, as I said, without any Trump in it. I want you to look at a video here now, as we move to the present time. And this is a person who is saying yesterday that the PNM did nothing for her. Can we put it on, please?
And San Fernando West loves her party. She, however, says they have done nothing for her.
How you feel about, Dr. Rowley leaving?
Knowing.
What has he done, in your tenure? What would be some of the things that you remember?
Well, nothing for me. But the road and them not good, the houses and them definitely not good. And they don't come up on me corner to look for anything, to see anything, but they always come in when it's time for election, they come in.
So what will you be telling them when they come this time?
Give me what I need before I come on there for you.
Okay, so she attended the conference yesterday, the rally, the convention, and she said nothing is only when election time comes. So Philip Watts was on point that they will come knocking on your door. Now is election time when they ignored you for the past 5 and then another 5, 10 years. And as Philip tells us, that ain't working. That ain't working this time wrong. It will not work. It will not work. They will come to your doors begging for your vote again. But run them. Run them without violence because they have done nothing except destroy our country. So based on that, what I saw yesterday, I want to speak directly to PNM supporters tonight. You may not like me, that's okay. But words will not hurt you. Just take a listen. You have stood, PNM supporters, you have stood by a PNM party which has taken your loyalty for granted for years. They have fed you empty promises. The financiers and the brother and the daddy, big money going to them. But what about you? What about your children? I say to you, you don't have to be PNM till you're dead. I remember Mr. Warner on a campaign in the past would go on the platform and he said, these people telling you they're PNM till they're dead. Mr. Warner said, well, dead now. Why you just not dead now? But today I'm calling the UNC support, the PNM supporters, to join with the UNC, the United Coalition of Interests, so that when UNC wins, everybody wins. Everybody wins. They don't want me to talk about blood because it's the blood of your children running on the streets, running in our neighborhoods. That red blood is mostly, Professor will confirm it, it is the blood of young African men being murdered in PNM constituencies under a PNM government. That is the red blood flowing in our streets. And that is why they don't want us to call them out, but we will call them out. There's nothing racist about this. This is about PNM destruction and their failure to help those most in need wherever they are. Too many of our children have already died under the PNM. Too many are suffering under their reckless rule. Now is the time, I say to PNM supporters, wake up, rise up, and leave the PNM which has betrayed you all these years. You know, they didn't even give you a choice to select your own leader in the PNM. And if you don't care for yourselves, look, put your children's first, put their lives. Stand with the United Coalition of Interests. Stand with the UNC, defend your children from gangs, from being slaughtered. Rowley has abandoned you. Stuart Young, the 137 times recuser, is now being forced upon you. PNM supporters, did you choose Stuart Young to be your Prime Minister? No. Trinidad and Tobago, did you choose Stuart Young to be your Prime Minister? The answer is no. So I invite you into the home of the UNC, the United Coalition of Interests. You know your lives and children were safer under my UNC government. I'm inviting you to come to a home which loves you and will take care of you. A home where democracy is alive. A home where the people come first. A home where you will not be forgotten. Come to the United Coalition of Interests. Come to the UNC. To come where you and your family will have a future of prosperity, a future of security, and the future of peace. Our doors are wide open. Brighter days are coming under the rising sun. Come into the light. Free yourself from the blood and blight of Rowley and Young and all those in the PNM. I tell you, I am a leader who loves this country. A leader who loves every one of you. Every time I speak, I tell the United Coalition of Interests, the UNC family loves you. We love you all. Ask yourselves in all these years, have you ever heard Rowley or Young or any current PNM MP tell PNM supporters and membership, tell them that they love them, that they care about them? Never. Every platform they go onto is berating people, buffing people. They don't even love their own members. You think they will love you and your children. Everyone in TNT identifies the United Coalition of Interests, the UNC, as the only vehicle which stands for the poor, the working and middle classes. These are the people who have carried the heaviest burdens of this government. The children of the working classes do not matter to the PNM. This government does not care that your children are being beaten in schools, murdered in the streets. They do not care about food prices and taxes that are so high. So while young friends and family toting billions, 4 billion in financing contracts, the poor, working classes, they're toting coffins of their murdered relatives. They're toting coffins. While their government financiers toting big plates of lobster in the Hyatt, the young, the middle class toting smaller and smaller bags of groceries. While these ministers and the children believe it, they have 24-hour police security. Everyone is toting the burden of terror and fear. For too long, we have suffered under the weight of this government, which has promised much, but delivered very little. Their legacy is one of broken promises, lost opportunities of a people left behind. I say tonight, together we can forge a new path, a path which will lead Trinidad and Tobago and you and your families to prosperity, and to a Trinidad and Tobago where justice prevails. Our hope, our plan, our vision and mission are to make TNT win for you and together with you. I want people to stop merely existing, Damien, from day to day. We must start living, real alive. I want you to win with joy and happiness and love, and not to lose again with hurt, pain, and fear. So what matters most to all of us? What matters most to you? Let's talk about that. Jobs, education, healthcare, safety, the economy. What matters most to our children, our citizens, real issues that impact on the quality of your life. People are being forced out of their homes by gangsters. Children are living under self-imposed curfews, beaten and bullied to a frazzle in school. You drop off your children in school and you are so scared for the rest of the day for their safety. Businesses are being extorted by criminals. Your sons are being forced to join gangs at gunpoint. Gangsters are disrespecting your parents. Your wives and daughters are being raped and beaten. You're struggling with high food prices, high mortgage payments, rent, and stagnant salaries if you happen to have a job. You also have to pay property and inheritance taxes, increased water, electricity, and fuel. Your homes and crops are flooded. Criminals pay larceny, stealing your crops. You can't get a job. Your mental health is destroyed. You're afraid that if you get sick, you can't get proper health care. Your angry criminals are invading your homes. So fear, stress dominate the minds and hearts of too many. And again I say, do not be fooled. Your tongue is the same old story. There is nothing new about him. He was the main co-conspirator with Rowley for the last 10 years. bullying and pressuring you. No amount of rebranding can change that fact. Now, Damien, I'm told from some people in the West, you from the West, that they brought down some Disney PR people to train Stuart Young how to smile. So what you're getting is a Minnie Mouse and Mickey Mouse smile from Stuart Young. And Disney people training him to try to win your votes. So what is the legacy from Rowley and Stuart Young? It's a destructive legacy. Those two cannot be separated. I said it. Kyle, Young is bolted to the chest of Keith Rowley. Young is Rowley, and Rowley is Young. They have no empathy or care for anyone. In their speeches and interviews over the last several days, did they speak of any accomplishments? Not a single accomplishment, because what? They have none, no accomplishment. They have no record of achievements. After almost a decade in office, they can't say what they built, what they did, or whom they helped. They couldn't say where the country is currently, what needs to be done, what we need to do, where we failed, where they succeeded, or what they tried to. They couldn't say it. In exit interviews recorded for All Prosperity, the man complained about making Sharon pay the light bill. This is your last speech as Prime Minister. You talk on you make Sharon pay light bill. Well, I hope I pronounce this right. Corporal, what kind of baby man or baby man is this? What kind of person is this? In your last speech, before you pack your bags and run away, you're talking about Sharon paying the light bill. They have also resorted to the well-known tired style of belly aching, blaming everybody, blaming the media, blame Kamala, blame the United Coalition of Interests, they blame the UNC. Last speeches and interviews were vacuous diatribes and laid bare the shallowness of the man for all to see. He exposed himself to show you all what we have always seen in him. He has always had and will always have the mentality and behavior of an immature little boy. To help him, I compiled a short list of some points showing the destructive legacy of Rowley and Young. Don't take your mind and say Rowley gone, you know. Man gone, Monday, Rowley is still there. Pulling the strings, the puppet master of Stuart Young. So what did they do? They left the economy 20% smaller than when they found it after we went out of office. The economy's engine is the energy sector. It is now 31% smaller than how we left it in 2015. And who is the Minister of Energy? Stuart Young. And I see they leave him as Minister of Energy, boy. The man was a failure at every ministry, including the Ministry of Energy. You leave him there. But you know why? It is because he's also bolted to the chest of Maduro in Venezuela. All the deals going down with Venezuela, Stuart Young, Rudy, how many times you tell us he fly? 45 times he going to Venezuela. And I know he do have a lady friend there. So he was going to make deals with Maduro. Well, I'm not really sure about that, but I know he was going to make deals with Maduro. They presided over forex supply crisis, crippling private sector, especially the small and medium enterprises. They, together with Imbert, presided over the collapse in foreign reserves from US 10 billion in September 2015, when we were there. They have brought it down to about US 5 billion in February 2025. Where the money gone? Where all that money gone? They found an operational refinery at Pointe-a-Pitre. They closed it down in 2018. They failed Houston gas negotiations. They were outsmarted. Remember I say he's the best salesman for TNT, Stuart Young and Rowley, gone up to Houston to negotiate. They were outsmarted. And they created, because of that, the emerging industrial rust belt we have, which runs from Point Lisas to Pointe-a-Pierre to Point Fortin. Both of them put all our eggs in the Maduro Venezuela basket, betting our future on the elusive dragon deal. They failed to diversify our economy. He said, Rowley, he said, you remember when he went on TV and he said that word diversification is an annoying word. Yes, and he was flapping. Annoying word. They failed to diversify. So everything in the dragon basket and that go and fly away too. They, together with Imbert, supervised the downgrade of our credit rating. Don't forget that. When we left in 2015, we left a Standard & Poor credit rating of A. You know what is A? Top of the class. When you get an A, you know, you did well. They have brought us down now, credit rating to B minus, prof, minus. They doubled our foreign debt. They directed the current wage negotiation stagnation coupled with rising prices. They decimated the middle class and the most vulnerable. They have our country in the throes of a failed state of emergency because of an out-of-control violent crime scourge. Young Heinz Rowley presided over the bloodiest years in our nation's history. Don't forget that. And Young, as others said, was Minister of National Security. They presided over the bloodiest years in our nation's history. 2018, 2019, 2022, 2023, and the way we are trending in 2025. If they stay there, this could be another very bloody year. They oversaw the decline of our status and our prestige regionally and internationally. You have to get the US visa. Along with the other thing, they caused one of the highest COVID death rates in the world. In the world. And they're still boasting how they manage COVID. This is a man, Stuart Young, as national security man, shut out the internationals from coming into Trinidad. They had to go like squatters and vagrants and beg Barbados to keep some of them for a while. And they both still up to yesterday about they handled COVID. Well, listen, when the UNC forms the government, we will establish a commission of inquiry into the mishandling of the COVID pandemic in TNT. Young and the Alsing locked out our country, out of our country, our citizens for 16 months. 16 months, but guess who was coming here? Delcy, you remember Delcy? Venice again. Delcy was coming. And this man think we so dotish.
And only daughter
he
too.
He said he didn't know I was coming to meet him in the Prime Minister's office. But if you really believe that, well, we know he dotish enough that he would know outside his door. As a Prime Minister, I was there and I'll be there again with your help. As a Prime Minister, you just don't walk up to the Prime Minister's office. Everything is documented. People can't just walk into that office. So he lied about that too when Delcy was able to come. They shut down our schools during COVID, creating a lost generation. They presided over 10 years with negative direct investment. They shut down businesses, over 65,000 jobs lost. We pledged to you, the UNC, when we formed the government, with your help and your votes, we will create jobs as we did in the 2010-15 era. Rohan and Young and Rowley presided over the decay of infrastructure and traffic torture. And that is legacy. Stuart Young, Rowley, and the whole pack of jokers. People are sick and tired of losing under the PNM. They have presided over the most losses of our country that you have ever seen from any government. And I want to tell you tonight, united coalition of interest, we will fix it together. For the decades they have held the reins of power, we have to face the grim realities of unemployment, underemployment, and a stagnating economy. They promised to create jobs, But we've seen thousands of businesses close. Young people fleeing to foreign lands to look for jobs. I say, the UNC, we will fix it. We will invest in people and industries, in our infrastructure, and create an environment where businesses can grow and create well-paying jobs. This government, you may not know, registered over 66,000 small and medium businesses. They deregistered, not registered, deregistered over 66,000 small and medium businesses. I say we will prioritize affordable land and home invasion. Young people can't afford to buy a home at the current prices. Our education systems once the envy of the world. I remember when we went up to the United Nations when I was Prime Minister, we were praised. We were praised for the initiatives. Tim, you remember that we were taking in education. We were one of the first countries to have universal secondary education. And we began universal preschool education. Rowley and Young, they have robbed our children of their birthright. They've robbed them of a quality education which equips them to compete in the world. There is a plaque, even if you have it, put it up. I'm proud to stand in this Brazil high school tonight, and I'll tell you why. As Minister of Education, I caused to be built. And I came here and I opened this school in September 2000. You know, before that, the children from here had to go to a Rima, waking up real early hours in the morning. But we built this school for them. And you know, thousands of children have had their education here at this Brazil school. Thousands. The current crop of students here is 483. I want to remind you, this Imbud now, they put him in charge of water. This is what he said when we opened this school. I want the Minister of Education, that was me, Imbud, I'm quoting, in 2000, in Parliament, to tell me why people from Malik should go to school in Karapichaima. Yes, he's still quoting, because they are building schools where people live. What utter nonsense. The mass of the population, Mr. Speaker, is in the east-west corridor and centered around San Fernando. Imbud continued. You know, this government built 100 schools. Well, let's take a praise for that. Under the Pandey government, we built over 100 schools. And not one of them, he said, was in San Fernando and in the greater environs in the east-west corridor and Diego Martin. Look, Tim will tell you all the schools we built. We built at least 19 schools in that period up in the west and the corridor and so on. So we'll share that. Here in Imbud, they built the schools in the bush. A school in the bush for parrots and all kind of wild animals, Mr. Speaker. Crazy people, Prof, crazy people. He said we were building schools for parrot and Dwen. Don't forget that. He was probably talking about himself, perhaps he was one of the Dwens, I don't know. That's what he said. And as I told you, thousands of children benefited from the school. We also left that Debe campus. I commit we will open the University of the West Indies Debe campus. We left about 106. We built under Tim Gopi Singh, under my government, 106 schools completed. We left about 70 schools in different stages of completion. I tell you again, I commit, we will make sure those schools are completed and open for our children. Ask them how many schools did they build in the 10 years? None, not one. Today again, I tell you, the United Coalition of Interests, we will fix this and we will open the schools. We'll modernize them. Our healthcare system is in crisis. They allowed it to crumble because why? Rowley could jump on a plane and fly to California every time he coughed. Anytime medical, he gone. But the rest of you, stay here, Dr. Rishi. They have dismantled the CDAP program. And so our healthcare is in shambles. I tell you, the United Coalition of Interests, we will fix it. We will rebuild the healthcare system. I built that Couva Hospital in 2 years. They could not build that central block in Port of Spain in 10 years. They taught us talk, I will not go back about their practical completions. Crime and violence tearing our country apart. Our United Coalition of Interests, Prof, the UNC, will fix this. We'll implement the plans and policies we have been rolling out over the past several months. The time has come to say goodbye to the friends and family that the PNM have been favoring. We will re-implement the original procurement legislation. Remember, they gutted it out to allow themselves to benefit their friends and family. We will re-implement that. I want to ask Faris, when he recused himself, some Imogen said to Alexandra, what interest do you have in that medical center? We have to go and check that out. Because he recused himself for those as well. As I say, we have been sharing our plans, we'll continue to do so, and people are asking me, so where are you going to find the money? Well, we're going and find out where the 3 billion gone that the Auditor General told us. We will find that out. I tell you, our plans are multifaceted, multidimensional, multi-purpose, new and visionary. So when they ask you where we're getting the money from, I remember during the 2010 election, I was being interviewed by a very beautiful young lady at the time, Shelley Das, on TV. And she asked me that question because we were rolling out our plans and programs for the GATE program and so many others. And she said, but where are you all going to get this money from to give the children the laptops? Where are you going to get the money to build a hospital? Where are you going to get the money to give the medical grant that we gave, the Children's Life Fund? Where are you getting money for all these children to get their surgeries and so on? Where you get money for Children's Life Fund? Let me tell you something. We found the money in 2010 and thereafter to do all these things and more. Some of it came voluntarily, you may not remember. But every single one of my MPs, including myself, we donated a percentage of our salaries to the Children's Life Fund. So our promises are not pie in the sky. The PNM is about games and pie in the sky. But the UNC, the United Coalition of Interests, is about pie on your table. And macaroni pie too, by the way. Remember I told you can't get macaroni pie. In my conclusion, I say, the United Coalition of Interests has plans and policies to ensure that everybody wins, every citizen. When UNC wins, democracy wins. When UNC wins, we will ensure that you, the people, have the choice to decide on your Prime Minister. You know my party has internal elections. I've had them every year on time, Democratic Party elections. And the leader who commands the majority of the support and the most seats will become Prime Minister. That is why the UNC and the PNM are never the same. That's another narrative they push. They say we are the same. We are not the same. The PNM does not deliver. The PNM does not care. The UNC delivers. The UNC cares. We are not the same. We were born out of struggle. We are born of the struggle of workers and the working class to get a fair day's work for a fair day's pay. So whether it be in the lagoons, whether it be in the oil fields, whether it be in the offices, whether it be on the land or on the sea, in the air or on the roadways, we are here for all the people of TNT. We are not just there for a few. And you know why? We understand. We care, we fight, and we win for you. Don't worry, a few people are leaving. I know it's a bit late. As again, I apologize. I didn't make the accident happen. I wasn't driving. I thank God I got here in time. And of course, we are live broadcasting, and this will be repeated on Wednesday on TV6. So those of you who did not see will be able to see the broadcast. I say again, the United Coalition of Interests is different. We live by our Constitution. We respect our Constitution. Be governed by our Constitution. You will be hiring us to work for you in government. You're hiring us to make sure that you are not left behind. You will be hiring us to move you forward. We will be hiring us to move our country forward, and that is what we are going to do when we win this election. We are going to make sure of progress, prosperity, and give you and provide opportunities for the things you need. Winning starts with you. The UNC puts you first. The United National Congress was built for you. The UNC, United Coalition of Interests, is the people's coalition. You are the reason we exist to serve you. The United Coalition of Interests is the you in the party. The United Coalition of Interests, the UNC. You are the you in the UNC. We put you first. So when the UNC, when the United Coalition of Interests win, you win. You win first. I want to thank Arnold Roberts tonight for taking us through this meeting. And again, all the speakers and all of you have come out in your massive numbers. I close as I remind you, when the UNC, the United Coalition of Interests, wins, you win. When the United Coalition of Interests, the UNC, wins, Trinidad and Tobago wins. When the United National Congress, the United Coalition of Interests, wins, everybody, I mean everybody wins. UNC went proud. God bless you all. Get home safe tonight. And thank you for being here with us. Thank you so much.
When UNC wins, everybody wins. When UNC wins, Trinbago wins. Trinbago wins. Everybody wins. What?
Yes, indeed, of course, we have come to the end of that scintillating, of course, presentation. Very informative, of course, and let's say very precise, incisive, and, of course, futuristic. Looking forward to, of course, being in government so that delivery can take place. That's the bottom line. That is what I would take away if I were you, that there are plans. And, of course, as you know, Laventille Outreach for Vertical Enrichment is, of course, incorporated in the United Coalition of Interests. So, Laventille, the East-West Corridor, you have not been forgotten. And you will hear all of the plans and programs that have already been in its nascent stage of development. And what you need now, of course, is the superstructure and therefore the consequential transformation of that area that has been neglected by the PNM for decades, and more significantly exploited, and of course believe that somehow we are the voter bank, and they, of course, are the beneficiary of raiding the treasury mercilessly in order, of course, to satisfy their personal aggrandizement, their friends, family, and finances. We must understand what is at stake here. Forget the young Prime Minister, and of course the camouflage and the facade and the, of course, illusion that they would have created in order, of course, to bamboozle and to, of course, deceive the people. We have had enough of that. And from tomorrow, of course, in great specificity, I will be out rolling out, of course, what is happening in Laventille, what has been happening in Laventille. And it's not futuristic. It's what is there, and we will be building on it. And as I said, there is the infrastructure. We now have to set up the superstructure. But how we do that? We make certain that Rowley and his bunch of opportunistic political parasites are out of office, and that you put in, of course, the United Coalition of Interests, led by, of course, the UNC and Kamala Persad-Bissessar as the inevitable Prime Minister. Yes, indeed. So I know that it is late now, and therefore, of course, it will be taking a lot from me and from you if I invite any calls. But for the time being, that is where we are. Yes, indeed. All right, we have a caller nonetheless. Let's take the call. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
So let me thank you, sir.
Yes,
for
man.
taking my call.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I know it's late, but
Yes.
I was on to the telly watching the UNC
Yes.
coalition.
I carried it as well, so they just finished there. So go ahead.
Right, a couple of issues.
Yes,
the
go ahead.
first one is, my letter of the day is Z. My word of the day is Zabi. My play remark of the day is Passman, the Chinese opium man. And my country of the day is Zambia. All right. But my more important...
All disease.
but my more,
I hear you.
But my more important thing is this, and I'm hoping somebody can help me with it. The man, KCR, has stepped down from Prime Minister, right?
Yes.
He's now an ordinary MP.
Yes.
What salary is he going to get? Prime Minister salary? What? You understand where I'm going with this?
Very interesting question, and very, sagacious of you to, of course, certainly you would have admitted thought, a good deal of ideation to that particular issue. But very good one. I'll mention it. I'll make sure I mention it tomorrow as well.
Right,
because
but
that is where the quagmire is. Yes.
There's another part to the question.
Go ahead.
They say when he leave as Prime Minister, he going with the Prime Minister's salary and he going with the Prime Minister pension.
Yes.
In the public service, they say your pension is based on your last salary.
Yes.
Your last salary for the last 3 or 4 months.
Yes. I see where you're going. I understand where you're going.
So if he stays as an MP for 1, 2, 3 months, what pension is he going on with? You understand what?
Yes, indeed. I don't think that aspect of it was thought out. And I always knew that while I may not have, contemplated as you have, but I know somehow, somewhere, somebody would have come up with, of course, that what I consider to be that extremely complex scenario that you have just mentioned. It is worthy, of course, of exploring. Yes.
Because everything, he rushed to get his salary, but you have to vacate his thing to get it.
That's right.
Both is empty, and think because he make up for circle to get the high salary to keep you work at a lower salary. If they demote you from CEO to ordinary sales manager, and your pension is based on your last salary, you getting a pension based on being the marketing manager, sales manager.
Yeah, because his last salary would not have been that of Prime Minister. That's all.
Right.
That's what you're saying, right? Yeah, because he still retains the parliamentary representative position, and therefore his last salary would be that. That is a very interesting one. I don't think that it is typical of this government not to, of course, things through, whether it be taxation, or whether it be, of course, imposing, of course, concentrated and multiple taxes on the same single salaried individuals, and therefore pauperizing the population as a consequence. All of that. So very interesting indeed. But go ahead, my friend.
Yeah, look at the police service. They just make about 50 ASP before they retire, just to get them the higher salary so they get a higher pension.
That's right.
And
he has done the reverse. He has done the reverse. He settled for the lower one.
Right.
Very
and
interesting.
My thing, I was hoping I would have gotten the AG to be on some program to ask her directly, because I passed maths there. So I just want to find out from she.
Yeah, right, man.
All right. Good night, boy.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that one. I think I could go to bed resting. That, of course, when people feel they're bright, and of course, with little knowledge, some people, of course, find themselves in a quagmire. Well, I think this is one that I would love to see unfolded, because it is extremely mind-boggling that here it is, of course, if you are to get a pension based on your last salary, it means therefore that in the case of Rowley, his last salary would have been parliamentary representative. How are they extricating themselves from this entanglement? Let's see. A person, good night. Welcome. Oh gosh, we had a long night, but go ahead.
I know it's night.
Yes.
I know it's sleeping time.
Yes,
but
yes.
I have a crystal ball. Pleasant good night, everyone. I have a crystal ball. I said a fortune teller here now.
Okay, go ahead.
I think this man. The reason why it is he selected Young and force him to actually become the prime minister is because he's looking now to get to the president. He going for president if PNM decides to. Well, I know they ain't getting in, but whenever they get in, they're going to call him to
that is only if they get in. There's no other way for that to happen, and they will not get in. So
right.
I have put that as a
that's what he's playing for. That's the last straw. Yeah, that's the last straw in the book. That's what he wants. Yeah. All right, Lennox. Pleasant good night again. Take care, rest.
Same to you, my friend. Same to you. But I want to take the caller from Diego Martin's concern, and that is, if Rowley is leaving with a parliamentary representative salary, and the rule is that you get pension based on your last salary, which, well, I should say, what salary they will now have to calculate, or is it that the higher of the two? I think that might be the logical thing that they will deal with. But if you're talking strictly the last salary, then the last salary has to be, of course, a parliamentary representative salary, which is much smaller than that of a prime minister. He, of course, created the condition to get an $87,000 per month salary recently. A pleasant good night.
Good night, Dr. Lennox Smith.
Good night to you, my friend.
Good night, Trinidad and Tobago, extension the world.
Yes, man.
I want to put something to rest, right?
Go ahead.
You see that like the two Jumbie and all them kind of thing going on. God is the boss.
Obviously,
so,
yes, man. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, so you see that, but when you're reaching boots, jump, we don't deal with that. We just deal with God. And God is the boss, because God make the world and the heaven and the earth. So that is what we're dealing with, and God is the boss. So we don't want to hear about no like to jumpy and all kind of totish thing. We don't hear about that.
I'm glad that you mentioned that, because there are those who are of the view that the PNM is a cult and all that, and I have very often said that it is not a cult as such, because if Rowley asks those who are confined to drink poison or to die with him, or throw themselves off a cliff with himself, they ain't doing that. So therefore, that level of indoctrination, or should I say psychological bondage, or should I say influence, does not apply. What they are, however, is a group of persons who have assembled for criminal purposes, and therefore the PNM is a criminal enterprise. That is how I see it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. So, people, let us just stay focused, stay positive, and know that God is the boss, and we don't tripping us about no betting and all. We don't deal with that.
Yes,
right?
man.
We just deal with God.
Yes, man. Yes, man.
Right,
and that will set you free. And of course, on the other hand, there are those who believe that somehow this will be forever. Well, I've always made reference to Hitler. It it looked like a very long time since in the 20s, and of course by 1945, well, he was out of it, and Germany, of course, was liberated. But the fact of the matter is that you have these despotic, evil elements, and of course, just to make certain that we put it in the scriptures context or in biblical context, evil could never prevail over good, and therefore all the evil must come to an end. All the evil, all the bad days that Trinidad and Tobago would have suffered under this PNM, a bunch of opportunistic political parasites, must come to an end. And so, of course, like all of the others, these days we will chalk it up as history, but not live in nostalgia or in any kind of anachronistic tendency, simply because we know how evil Rowley and his 10 years in office has been, and we will never want to, of course, repeat that. And so, Kamala Prasad Bisesa, the UNC, of course, and the United Coalition of Interests must be, of course, the vehicle to take Trinidad and Tobago forward. I'm trying to get, of course, a letter that was sent by Stuart Young to me. I'm going to, of course, have it properly organized for tomorrow. But I thought I was trying to get it tonight to, of course, give you a heads up. But let me read from it. Let me read from it as it is on the screen. I can't get it up on the screen at this time. But it is, of course, a letter from Alatashi R.E. Gervin. That is, of course, Chancery Chambers, 108 Duke Street, is a law firm. And, of course, it was sent to me, Lennox Smith. And, of course, the letter reads, Pre-Action Protocol Letter. And it says, Dear Mr. Smith, re-defamation of Mr. Stuart Young, published on 104.7 More FM on May 13, 2020. I instruct Mr. Anthony Bullock, we act on behalf of the Honorable Mr. Stuart Young, MP, Minister of National Security and Minister in the Office of Prime Minister. My client, which is Stuart Young, of course, is an attorney at law with over 19 years of practice. He is also the Member of Parliament for Port of Spain North, St. Anne's West, a minister in the Office of the Prime Minister and the Minister of National Security. Minister Young also formerly held the position of Minister in the Ministry of the Attorney General and the Minister of Communications. He is also a former temporary opposition senator. He also held a number of directorships on the boards of several private companies prior to his assumption of a public office in September 2015. On May 13, 2020, you and my colleague, I will not mention his name, falsely and maliciously spoke the following defamatory words of and about my client, which of course is Stuart Young. And we said, of course, among other things, what the next aircraft had, how much US money young you get. Well, of course, we were saying that on a radio program, and we were making those statements in response to, of course, the advent and the well publicized presence of Delcy Rodriguez, when everybody else had to stay out, especially our citizens, some of whom lost because their places were vandalized, etc., because they weren't there to, of course, in time to put in a presence so as to protect their property. Persons who would have grown accustomed, of course, leaving the country maybe a week or two and return. This did not happen in the case of COVID, as Stuart Young and the government locked out our citizens under the guise or under the pretext of course, they protecting us from COVID. Of course, the Barbadian government was irritated and, of course, had to accommodate some of of our residents, our citizens, when they would have reached as close as Barbados. Nothing prevented, of course, this government from taking and maybe, of course, charging those persons who found themselves in Barbados. I think there's more than a dozen of them. Of course, and we have, of course, our own nationally owned airline, Caribbean Airlines, that could have easily gone there on a trip or two and bring our residents home. But no, they would have had none of it. That is how evil these people are. And therefore, of course, we were making the point that how it is that you cannot go for these people, but you let Delcy Rodriguez inside Trinidad and Tobago on a sanctioned aircraft. And we wanted to know if it is that they were bringing gold bars and money for Rowley and they, because when we asked them subsequently, let me cut it short because tomorrow I will, of course, show you the entire package. They then told us through Freedom of Information that Rowley didn't know, the Secretariat or the Permanent Secretary didn't know who came on that plane. They didn't know who went for them, who meet them at the airport. They didn't know who meet them at the diplomatic center or the Whitehall. They didn't know whether or not and who would have been the interpreter if they were not speaking if they could not speak English. All of that. And then, of course, inside the letter that was sent to me as a pre-action protocol letter, he said that, of course, we accuse him of course, he and Rowley of racketeering and, of course, associating with drug lords. Yes, he did all of that. I'm going to read it in totality for you tomorrow night so you understand the coward. And I want to leave you with this. I want to leave you with this, that Laventille, you have in Lennox Smith and Love a fearless team. A fearless team. And with, of course, what the political leader of the UNC said tonight in terms of course, a commission of inquiries galore. And it means, of course, blue lights and silver bracelets, as Rowley like to say, bet your bottom dollar, as certain as night gives way to day and vice versa. Blue lights and silver bracelets will visit these fellas and the entire cabinet of the country. We will give reasons for that on a later program. But I just want to let you know, and just to leave you with this, the date on this pre-action protocol letter, let me give you the date. The date was the 1st of June. The 1st of June, 2020. The 1st of June, 2020. And when we sent back, of course, our 40-something page response, we didn't hear from Young again. We didn't hear from Young lawyer, nor he again. You never heard it because they tried to put it under the carpet, sweep it under the carpet. But now that he's this fake prime minister, it will be a long, hot 9 months ahead of us because that's the maximum he could get as prime minister in this country. They're playing the greedy for power. They're playing that they are avarice for, and of course, not pilferers, not persons who would ease up the treasury, but they are prepared to raid the treasury over the last 9 months as they have done over the last 2 terms, or put another way, almost 1 decade, 10 years. And we must show or have no mercy for them. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless you. Don't forget, of course, tomorrow morning, the ground report, Andy, Michael, and myself. My apology for not being there this morning, but last night, I complained of a headache, and I had a good rest, and I took some, of course, some advice from my concerned people, let me put it that way. And as a consequence, I'm feeling much better tonight, as you would have observed from my utterances so far. But of course, that doesn't mean to say that I believe that I'm made out of stone, and even stone break up. And of course, even engines break down. So as human being, that is of a biological composition, one would have expected that will happen here too, and you will run out of certain nutrients and certain, of course, nutrients that will provide the protection that is required. for, of course, human beings, in this case, or a living being, to, of course, survive a little longer. After all, the Bible said 70. So I'm looking forward to mine. Not yet there, but I'm looking forward to it. That being as it may, have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. And of course, I think this song from I think is the latest explainer. It should be appropriate because it just kicks in.
In this country, should we keep people more seriously when they have their parliament meeting? Something constructive should be happening. I visit them one evening in their parliament meeting. But what I see happening? Like these people high over cocaine. Why is the speaker speaking? In parliament, the Kingston. Every Wheeler newspaper reading. In parliament, the Kingston. They want to stop all people from driving. In parliament, the Kingston. There's a long say joke they're making. In parliament, the Kingston. Fixing all the time. Blowing everybody mind. Fixing all the time. Blowing everybody mind. I know this country has problems, and there's nobody to solve them. The opposition making bros, so the big boys to play in the house. We can't get lights, not no water. Look at the situation with WhatsApp. They only making confusion, billing calls for horses to run. Why is the speaker speaking? In parliament, the Kingston. Money with Tobago flag flying. In parliament, the Kingston. Sean Pan, they always arguing. In parliament, the Kingston. They want to build cars for horse racing. In parliament, the Kingston. Kingston all the time. Blowing everybody mind. Kingston all the time.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. It kicks in all the time. Yes, indeed. Let me just make sure and give a closing. What is that there? Let me see. What we have there. We should have. Okay. We should have, of course, media. No, that's not it. Okay. Let's see what's happening here. Let's see what's happening. All right, people, let me just get back that piece of music, and then, of course, we'll make our departure. I don't think it will be productive to put on this video at this time. So let me take that off. All right, people, of course, have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. Let me just get get back that piece of music, and then, of course, we will make our departure. Yes, indeed.
In this country, should we give people more seriously when they have their parliament meeting? Something constructive should be happening. I visit them one evening in their parliament meeting. But what I see happening?